Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Quotes 365. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from someone toxic, thinking you'd finally reclaimed your peace, only to find yourself haunted by the lingering question, what are they hoping for now that I've cut them off? Narcissists are complex, and going no contact isn't just about freeing yourself. It's about stepping into a psychological battlefield where they're quietly scheming and hoping for very specific outcomes. Today, we're diving deep into the dark psychology of what a narcissist truly hopes for when you decide to go no contact. Here's the thing. Narcissists thrive on control. They want to dictate not just how you see them, but how you see yourself. When you go no contact, you disrupt that control, leaving them scrambling to find ways to maintain their influence over you. It's not just about the silence. It's about the power dynamic that shifts in those moments. But let's be clear, this isn't about giving them credit for some grand master plan. It's about understanding their mindset so you can stay one step ahead and reclaim your narrative. Now, I know no contact isn't easy. Cutting someone off, especially someone who's deeply intertwined in your life, can feel like ripping out a part of yourself. And narcissists know that. They bank on you feeling guilty, second-guessing your decision, and eventually coming back into their orbit. But here's the truth. Every moment you stay strong and resist the pull, you're not just protecting your peace, you're dismantling the very foundation of their manipulation. In this video, we'll explore the 7 things narcissists hope for when you go no contact, starting with their hidden strategies behind those sweet words they used to keep you hooked, and moving through how they create the illusion of a perfect life, turn others against you, and even search for their next target. But folks, we're not just stopping at uncovering their hopes, we're equipping you with the insights to recognize their tactics and hold your ground. Because understanding what they want is the first step to ensuring they don't get it. As you watch, think about the ways these behaviors might have shown up in your past interactions. Maybe it's a text out of the blue, dripping with just enough charm to make you question your resolve. Or perhaps it's the whispers you hear from mutual acquaintances about how much they've changed. Narcissists are always playing a long game, but that game only works if you participate. When you disengage and understand their motives, you take back the control they so desperately crave. Folks, if this resonates with you, let me remind you of one important thing. Going no contact isn't about punishing them. It's about protecting you. It's about stepping out of their shadow and reclaiming the light they tried to take away. So stick with me until the end of this video, because we're not just unpacking their hopes. We're shattering the illusion they've built and helping you move forward with strength and clarity. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more valuable content to folks who need it. Let's jump right in, starting with the first thing a narcissist hopes for when you go no contact. Number 1. The hidden strategy behind their sweet words. All right, folks, let's get real. Narcissists aren't the sweet and charming people they appear to be on the surface. Beneath their carefully crafted words often lies a calculated strategy. And today, we're pulling back the curtain to uncover what's really going on. When you've gone no contact, one of their most powerful tools to pull you back in is their sweet words. But here's the thing. Those words, they're rarely as innocent as they seem. Let's start with why their sweet words feel so irresistible. Narcissists are masters of flattery and validation. They know exactly what to say to make you feel seen, valued, and special, almost like no one else in the world understands you the way they do. They'll say things like, "I've been thinking about you constantly," or "No one gets me like you do." These words tap into your natural desire for connection and recognition, and in the moment, they feel genuine. But here's the truth. Those words are rarely about you. They're about them and their need to regain control. You see, folks, for a narcissist, words are tools, not truths. They use them to manipulate, to draw you back in when they sense you pulling away. When you go no contact, it challenges their sense of power, and they'll do whatever it takes to reassert control. Sweet words are often the first weapon they reach for because they know how effective they can be. But behind those seemingly heartfelt messages lies a strategy to keep you within their grasp. Now, let's break down the hidden strategy behind their words. First, their compliments and apologies are often exaggerated. They'll say things like, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me," or "I can't live without you." At first, these statements might seem flattering, but they're designed to overwhelm your defenses. By making their words so grand, they hope you'll overlook the hurtful behavior that led to the no-contact decision in the first place. Second, their words are often paired with guilt. Phrases like, "I haven't been the same since you left," or "I don't know how to move on without you," are meant to make you feel responsible for their well-being. This tactic is all about shifting the focus away from their actions and onto your emotions, making you question your decision to distance yourself. But here's the key, folks. Those sweet words are rarely followed by meaningful actions. Narcissists excel at saying the right things, but when it comes to backing up those words with change, they often fall short. They'll promise to be better, to treat you with the respect you deserve, but as soon as they feel secure in your attention again, their behavior tends to revert to the same patterns. It's a cycle designed to keep you trapped in their orbit. So how do you protect yourself from falling for their sweet words? First, remind yourself of why you went no contact in the first place. Write it down if you need to. Having a clear understanding of the hurtful behaviors or manipulations that led to your decision can help ground you when their words start to cloud your judgment. Second, pay attention to their actions, not just their words. If their promises aren't accompanied by consistent effort and change, it's a red flag. And folks, let's not forget the importance of boundaries. When you're dealing with a narcissist, boundaries are your best defense. If they're trying to reach you through messages or third parties, it's okay to ignore them. You don't owe them a response, especially if engaging only brings you back into the toxic cycle. Let me leave you with this thought. Their sweet words may sound comforting, but their true intention is often to regain control, not to heal the relationship. By recognizing the hidden strategy behind their flattery and staying true to your decision to go no contact, you're reclaiming your power and prioritizing your well-being. Comment below, "I trust actions, not words." Let's affirm our commitment to breaking free from manipulation and focusing on what truly matters. And folks, if you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Next, we'll dive into the emotional traps narcissists set to keep you hooked. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going, folks. Number 2, the illusion of a perfect life. Let's get real, folks. In a world dominated by highlight reels and filtered snapshots, it's easy to fall for the illusion of a perfect life. Social media, dating apps, and curated profiles make it seem like everyone else has it all figured out. The perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect life. But let me ask you this. How much of it do you think is real? Spoiler alert, not much. The illusion of a perfect life isn't just a trap for comparison, but also a distraction in relationships, making genuine connections harder to find. The illusion of perfection begins with appearances. When you first meet someone, they'll often present the best version of themselves. It's human nature to want to impress. The carefully chosen words, the polished manners, and even the stories they share are all part of creating a narrative. And let's be honest, folks, we've all done it. But the problem comes when this curated version starts to feel more real than it actually is. Suddenly, we're building expectations based on an incomplete picture. When those expectations aren't met later, it can lead to disappointment and confusion. Here's where things get tricky in the dating world. The pursuit of perfection often becomes a barrier to authenticity. When someone seems flawless, it's hard to tell what's real and what's just part of the act. And guess what? This illusion works both ways. While you're busy thinking about how great their life looks, they might be doing the same with you. It's a dance of impressions, where neither party is fully showing their true selves. The real danger of chasing perfection is that it creates unrealistic standards, not just for others but also for yourself. Have you ever hesitated to share something about yourself because it didn't fit the image you thought you needed to maintain? Maybe you avoided talking about a bad day, a mistake, or something that felt too vulnerable. The truth is, these imperfect moments are often what build connection. When we hide them, we're not just protecting ourselves. We're robbing the other person of the chance to see who we truly are. Now, folks, let's bring some Stoic wisdom into this. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." The illusion of a perfect life is exactly that, an illusion. It's not the polished images or curated stories that harm us, but the way we choose to believe in them. When we let go of this need for perfection, we free ourselves to see people and ourselves for who we truly are. The same applies to how you perceive others. Instead of being dazzled by their highlight reel, ask yourself what's behind it. What struggles, insecurities, or challenges might they be facing that they're not showing? This mindset doesn't just help you connect on a deeper level, it also protects you from the sting of unmet expectations. Remember, folks, nobody's life is perfect, no matter how polished it looks on the surface. So how do we break free from this illusion? It starts with being honest, first with yourself, then with others. Be willing to share the parts of your life that aren't Instagram-worthy. Talk about your challenges and vulnerabilities. This doesn't mean oversharing or unloading everything at once, but rather allowing room for authenticity to shine. When you lead with honesty, you set the tone for others to do the same. Another way to combat the illusion is by focusing on depth over surface. Instead of being impressed by someone's achievements or lifestyle, pay attention to their values, their character, and how they treat others. These are the things that truly matter in a relationship, not the shiny exterior that fades over time. Let's wrap this up with a practical takeaway, folks. The next time you find yourself drawn to the illusion of someone's perfect life, pause and remind yourself that it's just one part of their story. Ask questions that invite depth. Listen for what's beneath the surface. And don't be afraid to share your own imperfect reality. When you do this, you create space for a connection that's real, meaningful, and far more satisfying than anything built on illusions. Comment below, "I choose authenticity." Let's remind ourselves that connection comes from being real, not perfect. And folks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're finding value here. Up next, we'll dive into how they're watching your response and why it matters more than you think. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 3, playing the victim to win your pity. All right, folks. Let's dive into one of the most subtle but emotionally charged tactics people use in relationships. Playing the victim to win your pity. This strategy is often overlooked, but it's incredibly effective for those who know how to wield it. It can keep you emotionally hooked, second-guessing yourself, and constantly trying to fix things. So, let's unpack this behavior and talk about why it works, how to recognize it, and most importantly, how to respond in a way that keeps your emotional balance intact. First, let's explore why someone might play the victim in the first place. People who rely on this tactic often feel a deep need for validation or control, but they might not express it openly. Instead, they position themselves as the underdog, the one who has been wronged or misunderstood. This narrative draws you in because, as humans, we're naturally empathetic creatures. When someone shares their struggles or hardships, we want to help. They're tapping into that empathy to create a connection, but not in a healthy or balanced way. Here's how it often plays out. They'll frame conversations around how others have hurt them, how life has been unfair, or even how they feel you've let them down. This isn't about genuine vulnerability. It's about steering the dynamic in their favor. By painting themselves as the victim, they subtly shift the responsibility onto you. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself apologizing for things that weren't your fault, or bending over backward to make them feel better. Now, let's talk about why this approach is so effective. It creates a dynamic where you feel compelled to prove your loyalty or care. Think about it. If someone you care about says, "No one ever really supports me," how do you feel? Most people would respond by reassuring them, saying something like, "I'm here for you. I care about you." That's the hook. The more you reassure them, the more they rely on this tactic to keep you engaged. It's a cycle that can be exhausting, but it's hard to break because it plays on your sense of compassion. So, how do you recognize when someone is playing the victim? Pay attention to patterns in their communication. Are they constantly focusing on what's been done to them, rather than taking accountability for their role in situations? Do they frequently position themselves as powerless or misunderstood? Another red flag is when they dismiss solutions or advice that could genuinely help them. Why? Because resolving their issues would take away the leverage they have over you. Here's the kicker. Folks, recognizing this behavior isn't about blaming them or judging them. It's about protecting your own emotional well-being. People who use this tactic often aren't aware they're doing it. It's a learned behavior, a way to cope with insecurity or fear of rejection. But just because you understand their motives doesn't mean you have to get pulled into their narrative. So, what's the Stoic approach to handling this? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This wisdom reminds us that while we can't control how others act, we can control how we respond. When someone plays the victim, resist the urge to immediately reassure or overcompensate. Instead, acknowledge their feelings without taking on responsibility for them. For example, you might say, "I can see that this is hard for you, but I think it's important to focus on what we can do to move forward." This response shows empathy without enabling their behavior. Another important strategy is setting boundaries. If you notice that their victim narrative is starting to drain you emotionally, it's okay to take a step back. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about creating space for healthier interactions. You can still care about someone without letting their struggles consume your energy. Let them know that you're willing to support them, but only in ways that are constructive and balanced. Folks, it's also worth reflecting on why this behavior affects you. Are you someone who feels a strong need to fix things or avoid conflict? Understanding your own triggers can help you stay grounded when faced with this dynamic. Remember, being compassionate doesn't mean sacrificing your own peace of mind. Let's wrap this up. Playing the victim to win pity is a tactic that thrives on emotional imbalance. But when you stay aware, set boundaries, and respond with intention, you take away its power. You're not here to be someone's emotional crutch. You're here to build connections that are healthy and mutually fulfilling. Comment below, "I protect my peace." Let's affirm our commitment to creating balanced, meaningful relationships. And folks, if this insight resonated with you, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Up next, we'll talk about the value of being whole without relying on anyone else's validation. You don't want to miss this. Number 4, turning others against you. All right, folks, let's tackle a tough topic head-on. How people can sometimes turn others against you, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It's one of the hardest situations to face, especially when it seems like someone you once had a connection with is now pulling strings behind the scenes. While it's easy to feel hurt, betrayed, or even vengeful, the Stoic approach reminds us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our mindset, and our ability to rise above negativity. Let's start with why this happens in the first place. People turn others against you for a variety of reasons, but it often comes down to insecurity or self-interest. Maybe they feel threatened by your independence, your confidence, or even the attention you've received from mutual friends. Instead of addressing these feelings directly, they may try to manipulate the narrative, painting you in a less favorable light to gain sympathy or validation. While it's frustrating, it's important to remember that their actions say more about them than they do about you. The first step to handling this is not reacting emotionally. When you hear that someone has been talking about you behind your back or influencing others' opinions, your instinct might be to confront them or defend yourself. But here's the truth. Reacting impulsively often plays right into their hands. It can validate their claims or make you appear defensive. Instead, pause. Take a moment to assess the situation calmly. Ask yourself, what is within my control here? But one of the most powerful moves you can make is to stay consistent in your character. When others see that you remain composed, kind, and authentic, it becomes harder for anyone's false narrative to stick. People are more likely to trust what they observe in you directly than what they hear secondhand. For example, if someone claims you're unreliable but you've consistently shown up for your friends, their words lose credibility. Your actions become your strongest defense. Here's where patience becomes your ally. Folks, while it's tempting to try to correct every misunderstanding immediately, sometimes the best response is to let time reveal the truth. People often see through manipulative tactics over time, especially when they notice a pattern of behavior from the person turning others against you. Trust that your integrity will shine through in the long run. Another important step is to focus on building strong, authentic relationships. When you invest in genuine connections, the people who truly know you will be less likely to believe negative rumors. These relationships act as a buffer, reminding you that you're valued and respected regardless of someone else's attempts to undermine you. Let's talk about boundaries for a moment. If someone repeatedly tries to create conflict or drag your name through the mud, it's okay to distance yourself from them. Protecting your peace isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. You don't need to engage in every battle or prove yourself to everyone. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So choose to react with dignity and self-respect. Here's a practical tip for navigating these situations. Take control of the narrative without becoming confrontational. If someone directly asks you about a rumor or accusation, respond calmly and factually. For example, if someone says, "I heard you didn't follow through on that project," you might reply, "Actually, I completed it on time. I'd be happy to share more details if you're curious." This approach shuts down falsehoods without escalating the situation. Lastly, folks, remember the power of letting go. Not everyone's opinion of you will be accurate, and that's okay. You don't need everyone to like you or understand you. What matters most is staying true to yourself and your values. When you focus on living authentically and treating others with respect, the right people will gravitate toward you and the wrong ones will fall away. Comment below, "I rise above negativity." Let's remind ourselves of the strength we have to handle challenges with grace. And folks, if this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. In the next step, we'll explore how to find wholeness without relying on external validation. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going, folks. Number 5, hoping you'll drown in pain. All right, folks, let's get real. When someone disappears after being deeply into you, it can feel like they're secretly hoping you'll drown in the pain they've left behind. It's as if their absence is meant to shake you, to leave you questioning your worth, and to stir up a storm of doubt within you. But here's the thing. This dynamic often reveals more about them than it does about you. Let's unpack this together and explore how you can rise above it. First, let's acknowledge the emotional whirlwind this situation can create. When someone pulls away, it's natural to feel hurt, confused, and maybe even betrayed. You might catch yourself replaying moments, wondering what went wrong, or blaming yourself for their decision to leave. But folks, here's the truth. Their choice to disappear isn't about you. It's about their inability to handle their own emotions or communicate honestly. By stepping away, they may be testing whether you'll crumble under the weight of their silence, hoping that your reaction will validate their decision to leave. This brings us to the heart of why they may be hoping you'll drown in pain. It's a form of control. When someone exits your life abruptly, they're often banking on the idea that their absence will occupy your thoughts, leaving you emotionally entangled and unable to move forward. It's a power play, intentional or not. The less clarity they give you, the more power they believe they hold over your mind and emotions. But here's where Stoic wisdom comes in. Folks, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When they expect you to crumble, your greatest power is to remain steady. Instead of reacting emotionally or seeking closure from them, focus on regaining control of your narrative. Their disappearance is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their inability to be present or honest in the connection. Now, let's talk about how to shift the energy. The first step is to stop giving them space in your mind. If they've left, let them. Your energy is too precious to waste on overanalyzing their actions or trying to decode their motives. Instead, redirect that energy toward your own healing and growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? And how can I become stronger because of it? This shift isn't about ignoring the pain. It's about transforming it into a catalyst for growth. One powerful way to reclaim your emotional balance is to practice what I call silent resilience. This means resisting the urge to react, whether that's through emotional outbursts, desperate attempts to reach out, or social media posts aimed at getting their attention. Instead, let your silence speak volumes. Silence shows strength. It says, I'm not here to play your game. I value myself too much to chase after clarity you won't provide. Mentee, this kind of quiet confidence can be incredibly unsettling for someone who expects you to fall apart. Another crucial step is to reconnect with your identity outside of the relationship. When someone disappears, it can feel like a part of your world has gone missing. But folks, let me remind you, your worth has never been tied to their presence. Revisit the things that bring you joy, passion, and purpose, whether it's diving into a creative project, reconnecting with friends, or pursuing a goal you've put on hold. These actions remind you of the fullness of your life beyond them. It's also worth noting that sometimes Their disappearance is a reflection of their own insecurities or fear of intimacy. While this doesn't excuse their actions, it helps to reframe the situation. Instead of seeing their departure as a rejection of you, recognize it as an inability on their part to meet you at the level of connection you deserve. Finally, folks, let's talk about what happens when they realize you're not drowning. When they see that you're thriving, that their absence hasn't derailed you, it creates a ripple effect. They may start to question their own actions, wondering why their departure didn't have the impact they expected. But by that point, it won't matter because you'll have moved on, stronger and more self-assured than ever. Comment below. I rise above pain. Let's affirm our commitment to growth and resilience. And folks, if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. Next, we'll dive into how to focus on becoming your best self rather than chasing what's already gone. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 6. Searching for their next target. All right, folks. Let's talk about a tough reality. Sometimes, when someone pulls away, it's not because of you, it's because they're already searching for their next target. In the whirlwind of modern relationships, some people are constantly chasing the thrill of something new, always looking for the next spark to keep them entertained. It's not fair, but understanding this behavior can help you see the situation more clearly and avoid taking it personally. Here's the thing. People who are always searching for their next connection tend to thrive on novelty. They're drawn to the excitement of fresh interactions, the chase, the mystery, the feeling of discovery. But as soon as things start to settle, when the spark turns into a steady flame, they often feel restless. It's not about the quality of the connection. It's about their craving for something they can't quite hold on to. And unfortunately, this mindset leads to shallow relationships that don't have the chance to grow into something meaningful. What does this mean for you? First, it's important to recognize the signs of someone who operates this way. They might come on strong in the beginning, showering you with attention and affection, making you feel like you're the only one who matters. But over time, their energy shifts. They become less present, less responsive, and you might notice their focus drifting elsewhere. These are red flags that they're emotionally detached and possibly looking for their next target. Now, I know this can feel like a hit to your self-worth, but let me tell you something crucial. Their actions say more about them than they do about you. When someone moves from one connection to the next, without taking the time to invest in depth, it's often because they're avoiding something within themselves. They might be running from vulnerability, afraid of commitment, or simply unable to sit with the quiet beauty of a deeper relationship. So, how should you respond when you suspect someone is searching for their next target? The answer lies in focusing on yourself. Folks, don't waste your energy chasing after someone who's already looking past you. Instead, take that energy and redirect it toward your own growth. Ask yourself, am I showing up fully for myself in this moment? Am I creating a life so fulfilling that I don't need someone else to complete me? One of the most powerful things you can do in these situations is to maintain your sense of dignity. When someone pulls away, resist the urge to chase them or demand answers. Instead, step back and create space for them to show their true intentions. If they come back with clarity and commitment, that's great. But if they don't, it's a clear sign that they weren't ready to meet you at the level you deserve. Remember, folks, Stoic wisdom teaches us to focus on what we can control. You can't control someone else's behavior or keep them from searching for their next thrill. What you can control is how you respond. By staying grounded, protecting your energy, and refusing to compromise your self-worth for someone who doesn't see your value. Here's a practical tip. When you feel that someone's interest is fading, Don't immediately blame yourself or try to fix the relationship. Instead, reflect on the connection objectively. Were they truly invested in building something meaningful, or were they more focused on the initial excitement? This reflection can help you detach emotionally and make decisions that align with your best interests. As we wrap this up, remember that being someone's target isn't the goal. You're not here to be chased, discarded, or replaced. You're here to build authentic connections with people who appreciate the depth and richness of who you are. When someone pulls away in search of something new, let them go. Your energy is better spent on people who see your worth and want to grow alongside you. Number 7. Counting on your regret. All right, folks, let's wrap this up by addressing a critical element in the dynamic of disappearing and reappearing: the power of regret. When someone pulls away and vanishes from your life, they may be counting on the idea that eventually you'll feel their absence deeply. Regret becomes a powerful tool, and they know it. But here's the catch: they're banking on your regret, not theirs. So let's break this down and talk about why understanding this dynamic can be a game changer. First, let's talk about why people disappear in the first place. Sometimes it's strategic. They step away, leaving you questioning what went wrong, hoping you'll start chasing them to fill the void. It's a classic move in the game of control. Distance creates a sense of scarcity, and scarcity creates value. When they remove themselves, they expect you to feel their absence and regret not doing more to keep them around. This tactic is less about who you are and more about their need to feel wanted, needed, and in control of the dynamic. But here's where things get interesting. Regret isn't just about loss, it's about perception. If they've distanced themselves and are waiting for you to chase after them, the power shifts to you the moment you choose not to play along. Regret only works if you let it consume you. By refusing to react emotionally or impulsively, you disrupt their expectation. You show them that your sense of self-worth isn't tied to their presence or absence. Let me tell you something, folks. Regret can also work the other way. When you hold your ground, focus on your growth, and move forward with purpose, it's often the other person who starts feeling the weight of regret. They see that you're thriving without them, and suddenly they're left wondering if they made the wrong choice by stepping away. This isn't about revenge or playing games. It's about reclaiming your power and letting your actions speak louder than words. Now, let's connect this to Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you let their departure dominate your mind, regret takes root and grows, clouding your judgment and self-perception. Instead, shift your focus to what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your growth. When you do this, regret loses its hold on you, and you regain clarity and confidence. Here's a practical exercise. When you feel regret creeping in, ask yourself, is this thought helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? If it's the latter, redirect your energy into something constructive. Maybe it's a personal goal, a new project, or simply spending time with people who uplift you. The goal is to channel your emotions into growth rather than letting them spiral into negativity. Finally, folks, remember this: their absence is not your failure. If someone disappears and expects you to regret it, that says more about their mindset than yours. You are not responsible for keeping someone in your life if they've chosen to leave. By focusing on your journey, you not only free yourself from unnecessary regret, but also create a life that feels fulfilling and complete, whether they're a part of it or not. So, as we close out this conversation, I want you to take this with you. Don't let regret shape your story. Let your actions, your resilience, and your growth do the talking. They may have counted on your regret, but they didn't count on your strength. That, folks, is how you turn the tables and walk away with your power intact. Thanks for spending time with me today, folks. Remember, understanding their actions isn't about changing who you are. It's about growing into your strongest, most self-assured self. The more you focus on your own journey, the more magnetic you'll naturally become. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Stoic Relationships for more insights. Stay grounded, stay strong, and always remember your worth. Until next time.